Coaches, we're looking into the 5 things that you absolutely need to know if you're coaching players in the game of baseball. Athlete and player management is one of the most important parts of being a coach, and so far we've looked at managing throwing volume, throwing intensity, throwing frequency, and today I want to share with you an aspect of throwing that gets little or no recognition, especially at the developmental and youth levels of the game, where it might just be most important. I'm talking about something that I call movement efficiency. I'm Jeff Grishel, sports science and athlete development specialist, and I have been lucky enough to work at all levels of sport with the Blue Jays for the last 20 years with Major League Baseball all over the world and from coast to coast with Baseball Canada. This is a series about managing and protecting your players and throwing athletes. Have you ever had that player who has that herky-jerky kind of throwing motion or swing, or a player that just seems uncoordinated when they run or field the ball? Well, heck, we might have all been that player at some point as we grew, mature, and developed throughout the game. Here's what we do know. Those herky-jerky movements can cause more stress and possibly tissue damage than the smooth, coordinated movements. And it's not that these players can't go on to be great players, but I will tell you this, they need to be managed differently, especially if they're pitchers. Think of it like the shimmy on a tire. The faster you go, the more that tire shakes, the more damage is being done, and the more energy you need to get the job done. Well, the body and the joints work the same way. If that's not running smooth, there's potential for more tissue injury, and also you're using more energy every time you do create a movement. But when it's running true, that tire can be going 100 miles an hour with little energy and very little to no damage. Well, same thing in the joints. When we get the joints operating properly, we can help keep our athletes safe. So while you're coaching players to be better movers, be hyper aware of those players who are not as smooth or as graceful. They're going to need more recovery. This is also where some of the exercises and drills we do outside of the game can really help. Balance drills and bodyweight exercises that emphasize joint stability and control, or the shoulder exercises that help balance and support the shoulder joint when throwing or hitting. If you work these types of things into your weekly practices, it can be an absolute game changer on the developmental pathway of any player, reducing the risk of injury and at the same time making them more coachable, where they'll actually be able to do the things they wouldn't be able to do otherwise. Movement efficiency, how your players move, is a very, very important part of creating more coachable players. Tomorrow, we wrap up our series on player and athlete management. I'll discuss one more factor that is rarely talked about, but is deeply tied to the game of baseball. And then I'll show you how to put it all together and make it work no matter what level you're coaching. I'll see you there.